Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفاه وبعد. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to another live edition of our program Ask Huda, and our phone numbers beginning with area code are 002 then 0238 132, and the other number is same area code then 010054693323. MashaAllah, we're trying to go live on my page as well, and meanwhile we have many questions from the previous episodes and the questions which I received on the page. The first question is from At-Tayyib, who says, if somebody is fasting, making up the missed days of Ramadan due to the menses, and then she happened to eat by mistake out of forgetfulness. So when she remembered that, she assumed that since I already ate, that means my fasting is void. So she continued eating a little bit more, and then she stopped. Is her fasting still valid? No, her fasting is not valid. If a person ate not just a bite or two, but a whole meal out of forgetfulness, then their fasting is valid. If they happen to remember while in the middle of eating or drinking, if the bite of food is in their mouth, the sip of water is in their mouth, and they remember, they gotta spit it out. They do not induce vomiting. They do not have to vomit what they have consumed. But if there is food in your mouth, you spit it out. If there is drink in your mouth, you spit it out. Because whatever you swallowed out of forgetfulness, you're pardoned, and you're not blameworthy for it, and your fasting is still valid. What is the proof to that? The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever eats or drinks out of forgetfulness while fasting, and this is even Ramadan, فَإِنَّمَا أَطْعَمَهُ اللَّهُ وَسَقَاهُ. It is simply that Allah the Almighty is the one who fed him and he gave him the drink. So this is like Allah is giving him a break. So let him resume fasting. He doesn't have to make up this fasting. Does this apply to voluntary fasting and to the fasting of making up the missed fasting? Yes, it applies to every kind of fasting. Because if it was exclusively for Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ would have explained that to his companions. But when the sister remembered and she still continued to eat even a little bit, drinking a little bit of water or any drink, or consuming anything while fasting, deliberately and knowingly invalidate fasting. So in this case, you did that deliberately. You said it's a little bit. It doesn't matter. The amount does not really matter. You just have to make up the day, because it was a day of qada. If a person does that deliberately, Ramadan is such a major sin. But while making up the missed fasting, what you owe is just to make up that day. Gipsar Kapandu. Gipsar says in his or her question, Allah knows, I have listened to the Jumu'ah khutbah on Friday, and the Imam read a hadith that is said, a man will be from Ethiopia during the last days. He will destroy Al-Masjid Al-Haram. Wal-'iyadhu billah. Please, I want to know the authenticity of the hadith. In the sound hadith, which is narrated by Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib from Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anh, from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, يخرب الكعبة ذو السويقتين من الحبشة. يخرب الكعبة ذو السويقتين من الحبشة. And the hadith is a sound hadith. This particular text is collected by the great Imams Bukhari and Muslim. And there are many ahadith collected by Imam Ahmad and others in his Musnad and other collections of ahadith. So collectively, these ahadith are sound. And the person who will destroy the Kaaba brick by brick will be somebody whom the Prophet ﷺ said, Usayla, like bald-headed, dark skin, and he will be from Abyssinia or Al-Habasha, as the Prophet ﷺ said. I know some people asked about the authenticity of the hadith. The brother said that he heard that in Khutbatul Jumu'ah, so he wanted to verify the authenticity of hadith. It's a sound hadith. And how would this happen while Allah the Almighty said, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّا جَعَلْنَا حَرَمًا آمِنًا وَيُتَخَطَّفُ النَّاسُ مِنْ حَوْلِهِمْ. So Allah the Almighty made Mecca a sanctuary. And we all know the story which took place on the year on which Prophet Muhammad was born, the elephant. And there is a beautiful surah in the Quran that narrates to us the story of the elephant. أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. Again, when Abraha al-Habashi led an army in order to destroy the Kaaba from Abyssinia again. And what happened is Allah the Almighty destroyed their entire army before they were able to reach the Kaaba. So how come that Allah the Almighty will not do that? This had happened even before Prophet Muhammad was born. He was born on the year after this event, before he was appointed with the prophethood, of course. So why would Allah the Almighty allow this to happen? It will happen by the end of time. There is another hadith collected by Imam Muslim. لا تقوم الساعة. The day of judgment will not be established, and a single person on earth who says Allah, Allah. People would not even know what is Allah and what it means, and they would not mention that. لا تقوم الساعة إلا على شرار الخلق. When the day of judgment will take place, those who will be living at that time will be the worst kind of people. Will be the worst kind of people. Which means when this happens, when the suwayqatayn, and the word suwayqatayn, the dual of suwayqa, which means a very skinny legs, squatty legs. Okay, so that is his description, as the Prophet ﷺ said. That will happen by the end of time. Soon after that, the major events of the Day of Judgment or the major signs will take place one after another, and the Day of Judgment will be established. The following question is from Mudassir Hussein. Mudassir says, it is said that it is not permissible to make dua after fard prayer, and it is recommended to make dua during salah, but in fard salah, Imam does not give us the time to supplicate. And it is said that after the prayer, it is haram to make dua. Let me correct your informations. Let me correct your informations. It is permissible to make dua even after the prayer, whether it is fard prayer or voluntary prayer, no problem. Nobody tells you that, no, you cannot make dua after the prayer. But perhaps the manner is what is restricted. Because the companions of the Prophet ﷺ had prayed behind him for years and years and years, at least 10 years after the migration. And there is no mention whatsoever that the Prophet ﷺ used to turn around and recite the adhkar out loud. Then he would make dua and the companions would say Ameen. Yes, that is mentioned in witr prayer, in the qunut. That is mentioned in the Friday prayer after the sermon. The Imam makes dua and they say Ameen. Okay. But after each further prayer, turning around and making dua and the followers supplicate by saying Ameen, that is not narrated. But if you yourself, after the prayer, want to sit and make dua, it is permissible. And I have discussed this repeatedly, okay? But do not do it on a regular basis. The best time to make dua is in the salah, whether in sujood or after reciting tashahhud and before making tasneem. When you say that the Imam doesn't give you a chance, that's why we have voluntary prayers. In the sunnah, before or after, you can prolong your sujood as much as you want. You can prolong your sitting after the tashahhud and make dua as much as you want. Okay? Barakallahu feekum. Sister Rita Hussein says, uh, the best dua to get rid of toxic people and dua for cure of cancer? Well, we don't have what is called a specific dua for a specific disease to be mentioned by the name, but you can phrase your own dua. So if somebody is having a headache, the person says, As'alullah al-Azim, Rabb al-Arsh al-Azim, an yashfiyani. I ask Allah the Great, the Lord of the Great Throne, to cure me from the headache, from the migraine, from the cancer, from the anemia, from knee pain, you name it. Okay? But the Prophet ﷺ didn't prescribe a specific dua for instance, for cancer. Somebody is having stomachache, somebody is having constipation or diarrhea. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Oh Allah, cure me. Oh Allah, alleviate my pain. Oh Allah, remove my suffering. You can do that. And the Prophet ﷺ taught us there are many supplications, general supplications. You can simply put your palm on the body part which is aching and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure you. Or to say, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة من شر ما أجد وأحاذر. I seek refuge with Allah in His most perfect words against every evil that I fear and I find. من شر ما أجد وأحاذر. You recite any part of the Quran. We have learned that one of the greatest recitations or means of ruqya and cure from sickness, even those which we think they are pure clinical and they don't have cure, is Surah Al-Fatiha. In the hadith, which is narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, radiyallahu anh, it was even a cure against a snake bite and a scorpion bite after they failed to save the life of this person. So one of the Sahaba recited upon him Surah Al-Fatiha several times, فَكَأَنَّمَا نَشَطَ مِنْ عِقَالٍ, and he got up as if he was tied up and now he's untied, like a camel after being untied. Subhanallah. And Umar al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, regularly he used to give ruqya by simply reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. So you can do that. As far as the toxic people, yeah, it seems like we're having a problem with the voice, with the audio. May I have the director work on the volume, please? The viewers are complaining that the sound is not clear. Okay? Barakallahu feekum. We'll work on it, inshallah. And we apologize for this technical problem. Okay, I got it. Rizwan is asking, can my sister-in-law teach Quran to a small boy? Her mother is requesting my sister-in-law to teach him Quran as she herself don't know exactly how to read Quran with proper makharij. So how can she help the boy? Okay. I guess I got your question. فاقد الشيء لا يعطيه لغيره. When you go and you ask somebody to give you a loan and you know that he himself is in debt or he is broke, that doesn't make any sense because they are in need as much as you or even more. So why do you bother and ask them? Somebody who doesn't know how to read Quran, ask him to teach the children how to read Quran. Doesn't make any sense. And especially the youngsters. Those who should teach the youngsters are the most qualified. Why? Because they engrave in their mind this beautiful portrait. And whatever you carve in their mind, it lasts with them until they grow up. They may forget a lot of things, but not this. The things which you have learned when they were very young. So the pronunciation of the letters, any language, you gotta hear it from a native person. We don't have a native person, at least somebody who knows how to recite the Quran properly. I have figured from the program of correct recitations, when somebody reads and he's from this part of the world, I can tell that his teacher was this or that. Why? because he or she have been influenced by their teachers. They even make the same errors. So they were taught wrong and they make the same errors, and it becomes harder to correct them than if from the beginning a person who is correct have taught them the proper way. So إنما العلم بالتعلم. To be a teacher and to teach Quran, you first have to learn how to read Quran. And once you achieve that, and once you excel in that, and if you're given the permission by your teacher or an ijazah, for instance, you can teach others. I would rather learn online from a person who is proficient in Arabic and in Quran than sitting with somebody whom he or she don't even know how to read. It becomes very problematic, and they inherit the students the same mistakes. Not because we don't have a physics teacher who say to the geography or the math teacher, can you fill in please? Yeah, I'm a substitute teacher. I can just fill in to sit and entertain the students. But I have no clue about physics. Just tell them anything, it doesn't matter. No, I don't know physics. I don't know tajweed. I don't know ahkam. I don't know tafsir. Do not suggest. If you don't know, say I don't know, and have somebody else teach them. Let me see this question from Sister Nadia. She says, if blood relations like own brother or sister becomes and stay negative so much that it starts affecting one's health, can the person stay away from them? But Allah emphasizes a strong relationship. You mean negative that, passive, they do not treat you the same kind of treatment, they don't want to do anything with you, they want to sever their relations with you, right? This question was asked to the Prophet ﷺ, and if there is a similar question, then my role is to transmit the question and answer of the Prophet ﷺ to you guys. I have no say in it. I learn like you exactly. And the teacher was Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. A man came to him and said, Ya Rasulallah, inna li qarabatan asiluhum wa yaqta'unani. I have some relatives. I do my best to uphold their ties and be good to them. Wa yaqta'unani. Yet they sever their relations with me. They don't want to talk to me. They don't want anything to do with me. So what am I supposed to do? And I know that the audience, especially if non-Muslims are listening, would say, hell with them. You don't want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to you either. Right? No, this is not right. Well, that wasn't the answer of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, if it is as you say, then فَكَأَنَّمَا تُصِفُهُمُ الْمَلْ وَلَا يَزَالُ مَعَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِمْ نَصِيرٌ. If what you said is true, because sometimes it is not exactly true what you're saying. So I'm going to answer the question according to the question, not according to the reality, which I have no clue about it. It will be similar to feeding them the hot sand. Yani, you're not blameworthy. You will still receive the reward. You are pardoned by Allah the Almighty. You're blessed for upholding the ties of their kinship, for talking to them, for visiting them. What about them? They are blameworthy, and their blame is similar to eating the hot sand. This is how terrible it is. Okay? This is how terrible it is. And Allah will continue to support you against them. Oh, so still Prophet Muhammad ﷺ didn't tell him that to take a hike or not to talk to them or to treat them the same? No, it didn't. Then in Surah Fussilat, Allah the Almighty tells us even furthermore, what shall we do in circumstances like that? Like if you have a colleague at work, a classmate, a friend, a neighbor, somebody who is really terrible. You're being, kind to them, but they're terrible to you. The ayah says, ادفع بالتي هي أحسن السيئة فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. In most cases, when somebody is very rude to you and you're always nice to them, at one point, at some time, they will realize that they were wrong. They were all wrong. And you're really nice. And this enmity or hatred will turn into an intimate friendship. كأنه ولي حميم. But not everyone can be patient to bear the suffering for a long time. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. So you'll be very lucky before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you behave like that. Okay. Only answering the questions which I see in front of me to the best of my ability. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us and accept from all of us. Rani Romi is asking, can wife give money or anything without husband's knowledge if both husband and wife work and earn money? Well, number one, if it is her money and it is her position, she can give the money to whomever as long as it is halal, and she can buy whatever as long as it is halal. That is her position. Islam respects the ownership and the position, the personal property position. Everyone possesses whatever. This is your right. So if she wants to support her parents, her siblings, to give it in a charity, that is her money. Okay? So she doesn't have to seek a permission even from the husband before spending such money, as long as it is in a good cause or a halal means. Having said so, I would like to remind myself and you brothers and sisters, the relationship between the husband and wife is not based on independence, challenging, and competitive nature. No, it is rather based on shura, compassion, affection, mercy, mutual consultation. So the husband, not only the wife, the husband should consult his wife, the wife should consult her husband. There is a beautiful ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, I believe it is ayah number 233. Yeah, second chapter of the Quran. When Allah the Almighty was talking about the rada', the breastfeeding, He said, وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ. And in this ayah, Allah the Almighty says, فَإِنْ أَرَادَ فِصَالًا عَنْ تَرَاضٍ مِّنْهُمَا وَتَشَاوُرٍ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِمَا. Look, who is breastfeeding the child? The mother. And who is supposed to support financially the breastfeeding mother and the child? The husband, the father, right? When it comes to the weaning, it should be based on mutual consultation and based on their consent, both of them. عن تراض منهما وتشاور فلا جناح عليهما. The Quran recommended the breastfeeding for a couple years. But if for a reason or another the couple, the husband and wife, they had a meeting, mutual consultation, and they agreed that, a year and a half is enough. I'm really sick and I'm having anemia and I need to rest. Honey, no problem. Okay, we can complete the feeding through the formula or whatever. Look, there is what? تراض منهما وتشاور. An agreement and mutual consultation between them, even concerning the weaning. The wife may think it's solely my decision, and the husband may think it's solely my decision. No, neither one of you. So live both of you on the basis of rahmah, mutual consultation. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَهُمَا مَوَدَّةً. The ayah of Surah Al-Rum, ayah number 21. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Affection and mercy. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Indeed, in that there are signs for people who ponder. May Allah make us among them. The following question, Anjuman Mukti. Anjuman is asking, is it obligatory for me to do the household chores in my husband's family? What part of the works are obligatory for me? What are recommended and what are just optional for me? All right, Sister Anjuman. What is required for the wife is to take care of her duties towards her husband and their offspring. Anything extra is simply optional. The answer I gave earlier is in case that the husband has restricted resources, restrained, limited resources, so he cannot afford to bring you a maid, cannot afford to bring you a driver, But if the husband can afford to bring you a maid, then he should. Okay? So you take care of the education, you take care of upbringing the children, and so on. We don't, and we don't have the means. We live in hand to mouth. So he leaves early morning to earn his living and to provide for the family. And what are you doing at home? Well, you're going to be helping, raising the kids, doing the laundry, cooking, taking care of other things. But his mom is living with us. And this is where it gets very problematic to many people. His mom is living with us. As a matter of fact, this is a good luck for you. Why? Because number one, besides, it is not mandatory upon you to serve his mom or his relatives. You do this extra. This is voluntary. And you will be rewarded for that, no doubt. You will be rewarded for that, a magnificent reward. That will strengthen the ties between you both, will increase your love in his heart, and he will be very appreciative, especially if he cannot afford to have somebody to serve his mom or to put her in a separate housing and somebody to look after her. This is number one as far as affordability. Number two, whatever you do in order to help people, it will be a credit for you that you will utilize it at one day. It's like a retirement plan. I mean, the day will come, you will grow up, and all your kids will get married. And maybe you will become single. The partner is dead, or both of you are senile, both of you are sick and need some medical attention. Who's going to look after you? Each one of your children is married, and his or her spouse says, none of my business. Let's put them in a nursing home. No, it's an honor. When you see your husband is taking care of his mother, when you see your husband is taking care of his parents, this is a sign that you have a jewel, you have a very noble man. And this is a sign that, inshallah, if you grow old, maybe you will not need anybody's help, but in case that you need, you will find all your children competing over who's going to serve you. Why? Because they were brought up this way. They have seen how you served your mother-in-law or your parents-in-law. Above all, do not forget there is indeed a magnificent reward for every glass of water you serve her or them, for every meal. Anyway, you're cooking for the whole family. It won't harm to make an extra plate. May Allah bless you. Brothers and sisters, we look for such condition in the light of the ayah, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. Help one another to achieve piety, righteousness, and taqwa. We're going to take a short break, and inshallah when we come back, we have many questions unanswered. I will do my best to answer as many as I can of them, inshallah, next segment, so please stay tuned.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran in 7 different ways of recitation. Similarly, Maryam alayhi salam, she's a woman by herself. She doesn't even have a husband who's ever touched her, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted a child to Maryam alayhi salam. Look at that. She said that, how will I have a child? وَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ. How will I have a child whilst I've never even been touched by a man? One of the unique things about the story is that it's not like Umar al-Khattab hasn't heard these verses. Can you imagine that Umar al-Khattab hasn't heard these verses? He became sick from the effect that this ayah ended up having on his mind.
يتدبرون القرآن
day the Prophet ﷺ came out to the companions radiallahu anhum, and he said to them, don't you bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one worthy of worship and He has no partners? Don't you bear witness that I am the messenger of Allah? Don't you bear witness that the Quran is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So the companions radiallahu anhum, they said, yes, O Prophet of Allah. Then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, فَأَبْشِرُوا, have the glad tidings, the great news as a result of this. Because the Quran has two ends to it. One end with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and one end in your hands. Then he said to them alayhi salatu wasalam, فَتَمَسَّكُوا بِهِ, hold fast to it, because you would never be led astray, and you would never be perished if you're holding fast to the book of Allah. Because of that, join us every week in Quran in Depth, where we recite and reflect and ponder over the verses of the Quran. We go in depth into the verses, following the ways of the Prophet ﷺ and the companions radiallahu anhum. When they used to take the verses, one set of verses after another, they would recite it, they would reflect upon the meanings of it, and they would act according to it, and then they would go to the next set of verses. Join us every week in Quran in Depth, so that we would recite and reflect and learn more about the book of Allah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless our life and to make us among those who follow the Quran and the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Look at the barakah and the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put into this farm, where the cloud comes and rains just for him, subhanAllah. And my brother goes and works, and he provides for me, and I just sit back and I worship. So they have it divided, where one works and the other one worships. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, he said, أَخُوكَ خَيْرٌ مِنْكَ, that your brother is better than you. He was a man who devoted his life solely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, worshiping Allah day and night. And here he's accused, he's falsely accused of fornicating. ثلاثة يحبهم الله, three people that Allah loves. And as a Muslim, as soon as you hear this, you're like, who are these three? I wonder who they are. How can I be from them? Who are they? Now, these are things that you'll find it, the people who are attached to the dunya sometimes, it's not a manly thing. It's more of a feminine type thing. It's a soft thing. That Allah said, whoever strives for us, that verily we should guide them to our ways, and indeed Allah will be with the doers of good. So if you're from the doers of good, ones who are striving, Allah is going to be with you, He's going to assist you, He's going to help you, inshallah. He would come every night and he would give this milk to his parents first, and then give the milk to the rest of the family. One night he was late. He came home late. So what does he do? He holds that milk and won't let anybody drink it. Not his children, not his wife, until his parents wake up in the morning and they drink it first.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Let me remind you with our phone numbers: area code 002, then 023855 132, and the other number is same area code, then 010054693323. Also, we're having live streaming on my page, M Salah Official. That's my Facebook page. Let me read some of the questions I received during this episode. We have a request from Ammara. Dua for my father, just passed away 7 days ago. He ends his life with wudu and uttering the kalima. May Allah have mercy on your dad. May Allah bless him and admit him to paradise. May Allah make his grave a garden of heaven. Ameen. Ameen. The sister Sophia Saeed. Sophia is saying, Assalamu alaikum, may Allah bless the whole team of Ask Huda. Is there any Eid Salah for women who want to pray at home, for women who are not able to make it to the congregational prayer? Well, if the person is able to go to attend the Eid prayer, they should, including women, all ages, including women during their menses, even though they don't actually pray, but they witness the congregation. But let's say that somebody did not attend the Eid prayer. Can they make it up? Yes, they can make it up. And similarly, by analogy, those who are not able to go for a physical reason, they can pray it, and they can pray it in Jama'ah anywhere else. Yes, they can make it up. So sister, yes, you can pray Eid with those who are with you at home. Sabina El-Dumi. Sister Sabina is asking, can I pray and make dua for my father who is not Muslim? Yes, you should. Not only you can, you should make dua for all your family members who are not Muslims. Ask Allah to guide them. No, I mean that he is sick and he's, for instance, somebody's father, mother, spouse, not Muslim, having cancer, having migraine, having whatever. Can I make dua and ask Allah to cure them? Yes, you can pray for them. And it is recommended to make dua for those who are sick and suffering. And it is most important, recommended, that you should make dua and ask Allah to guide them. Well, as long as the person is still breathing, then there is a chance, there is a possibility. And the Prophet ﷺ did pray at one point, even for Abu Jahl. He was hoping that he would become Muslim. He prayed for his uncle. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Their guidance is not due upon you. It is Allah who guides whomever He wills. Now, when the person dies in a state of disbelief, and he was aware of Islam and he refused willingly, it is not up to me. I'm no one to tell you, yeah, you can continue to pray for them, because even Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was forbidden making dua for the non-believers after their death. You know, he said, استغفر لهم أو لا تستغفر لهم إن تستغفر لهم 70 مرة لن يغفر الله لهم. Whether you seek forgiveness for them or you don't, even if you seek forgiveness for them 70 times, Allah will never forgive them their sins. Why? Because they died in a state of disbelief. The Prophet ﷺ was very eager to seek forgiveness for everyone. He said, by Allah, if I know that if I continue to seek forgiveness beyond that, more than 70 times, they will be forgiven, I would have done it. And even before Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the Quran tells us that Ibrahim alayhi salam was forbidden from making dua for his late father after he died in a state of disbelief. In the beginning, he continued making dua for him when he said, لَأَسْتَغْفِرَنَّ لَكَ وَمَا أَمْلِكُ لَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. He said, I shall continue to seek forgiveness for you, but I do not own anything or an art to benefit you with before Allah. So the Quran says that Ibrahim's father died as a non-believer. Did he continue to make dua and istighfar for him? No, he was not allowed. The Quran says, وَمَا كَانَ اسْتِغْفَارُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لِأَبِيهِ إِلَّا عَنْ مَوْعِدَةٍ وَعَدَهَا إِيَّاهُ فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ أَنَّهُ عَدُوٌّ لِلَّهِ تَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُ إِنَّ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لَأَوَّاهٌ حَلِيمٌ. Look at this ayah and the previous ayah. So the previous ayah is commanding the Prophet ﷺ and the believers, you're not allowed to make istighfar for the mushrikeen. Which mushrikeen? The mushrikeen who died in a state of disbelief. وَلَوْ كَانُوا أُولِي قُرْبَ, even if they were relatives. When? مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُمْ أَصْحَابُ الْجَحِيمِ. after it has been confirmed that they are going to hell. And when is it become certain and for sure that they are going to hellfire? If a person dies in a state of disbelief, he was informed about Allah, about the oneness of Allah, monotheism, and he refused that deliberately. That was his choice. Enjoy it. No compulsion in religion. But Muslims believe that if any person associated partners to Allah in worship deliberately, and they died in this condition, they shall not enter paradise. And it is only either heaven or hell. So when a person dies in a state of disbelief, you don't have the right to seek forgiveness for them. Then Allah the Almighty followed the ayah by saying, and even in the case of Ibrahim, thousands of years before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ أَنَّهُ عَدُوٌّ لِلَّهِ تَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُ. When Ibrahim's father died in a state of disbelief, this is when it became confirmed that he's not going to go to heaven. So Ibrahim disowned him, disowned his father. Inna Ibrahima la'awwahun halim. May Allah guide all our parents, our spouses, our children. May Allah guide all of us and keep us rightly guided and steadfast on the straight path. Fazalur Rahman. Fazalur Rahman from Pakistan is asking how to actually imagine Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I want to kiss him in imagination. Is it okay or not permissible? Well, I really appreciate that you love Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam so much. But alhamdulillah, we were taught how to demonstrate this love. You know, not in imagination or anything like that. We have Thawban, who was crying because he wanted to be with the Prophet ﷺ in paradise. And we have this companion and that companion, and the Prophet ﷺ recited upon them, مَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. You want to see him physically, you want to be with him, you want to hug him and kiss him. It will happen eventually when you enter paradise. You don't have to be a prophet, you don't have to be a shaheed, but you can be an honest person, you can be a true Muslim, you can be a righteous person. Then you have a seat in paradise next to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to this ayah of Surah An-Nisa. Embracing every sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the best of your ability is like embracing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Your feeling is such a precious feeling. As a matter of fact, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in one hadith, particularly about your feeling, that among those who love me most, some people who will come, they have not seen me at all. He said one of whom would love to pay anything and sacrifice everything he has, his family, his wealth, and everything in life, just to lay his eyes on me once. So yes, there are some believers who love Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam so much that they want to embrace him physically, they want to see him, but not in imagination. This is as far as the answer to your question. Now, and is it possible to imagine Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Sometimes, you know, I wish I can see him in a dream, but I'm not too lucky to see him in a dream. Is it possible to imagine him? Yes, it is possible. And how can I imagine him? If you don't have his description, you will not be able to imagine him. So then how can I have his description? Very simple. The Sahaba described the Prophet ﷺ as if you could visualize him. There is a beautiful book compiled and put together by Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi. May Allah have mercy on him. It's called The Prophetic Traits, or Al-Shama'il al-Muhammadiyya. It talks about the prophetic physical and moral characteristics. So when you read the book, by the end you will be able to imagine who was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Barakallahu feekum. Bailian Ganwan. Ganwan is asking, I just want to ask, if I pray, for example, Maghrib, then and I memorize the last pages of the Quran, Surah An-Nas, then the second rak'ah I recite Al-Falaq. Is it acceptable? Jazakallahu khairan. Before I answer this question, my dear respected viewers, it would help us a great deal to understand how much we cover worldwide. If you can tell me your location, where you're watching us from: Spain, the United States, China, Russia, okay, Nigeria. So if you can assist us by mentioning on the page, obviously, where you're watching us from, it will be very helpful, inshallah. Barakallahu fikum. What you're talking about is the order in reciting the surahs in the Quran. As far as reciting one surah in the first rak'ah, and then in the second rak'ah, the surah before it, that is permissible, even though it is not preferable, but it is permissible. It is permissible. What is not permissible is at-tankis, which is to recite some ayat in the same surah, then in the following rak'ah, you recite the previous ayat to it of the same surah in the second rak'ah. So that is going backward, and this is not permissible. But reciting one surah before another is permissible, inshallah. Let me see some of the questions. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kanwal Nayar is asking, I have a question regarding to covering the head. Why it is important only to cover head for women and leave the other body parts without care? Well, this is what you're thinking, sister. But the reality is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not command only covering the head and showing your shins, or covering the head and wearing short blouses and showing your belly button, or wearing short sleeves. No. The Quran says, يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن ذلك أدنى أن يعرفن فلا يؤذين. Ayah number 59, chapter number 33, Surah Al-Ahzab. So when you read the ayah and you read the meaning of the ayah, that the Prophet was commanded to convey the following command to his wives, daughters, and all the Muslim women. So it is not exclusively for the Prophet's family. وَنِسَاءِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ يُدْنِينَ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ جَلَابِيبِهِنَّ. When you go to the market and you buy a jilbab for women, it is something that you wear like what you wear in the prayer, is dal, from head to toe. Yes, some of those jilbabs, they show the face, okay? And this is the part where there is a difference of opinion. But as far as the arms, the legs, the bosom, the v-neck, the hair, there is absolutely a general consensus. All of that must be covered for women, and this is what is called hijab. Sadaf Ahmad, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. If someone listens to Surah Al-Mulk before going to sleep, will he receive the same reward as one who recites the surah? I've mentioned before the opinion of Sheikh Ibn Baz, may Allah have mercy on him, who said that the reward for listening to the Quran is similar to that of reciting the Quran, provided it is listening, not hearing or overhearing. We all know that sometimes people play the Quran in the background. They are on the phone, they are doing some work which requires attention, so they don't know what is recited, and the reciter may finish one surah and goes to another, and they are heedless. Why? Because they are busy. Their mind is preoccupied with something else. That's not called istima'. Okay, it's called hearing. But if a person is sitting, listening to the ayat and pondering over it, that's called istima', and he will be rewarded for it, similar to the reward of reciting the Quran, especially if the person is not a reciter or doesn't know how to read the Quran. May Allah the Almighty guide us to what is best. Let me see. Last question of Abu Bakr. Can one still fast if you haven't made your intentions the night before because of the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ asked Aisha? Yes. For the voluntary fasting, if you wake up and you have not done anything which normally violates fasting, and you decided whether there is food or not, you decided I'm going to fast today, it is permissible, and the reward will count from the moment you started fasting. Brothers and sisters, until next episode, I leave you all in the care of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is